Time to talk about top prospects in the state of Alabama.
Locked On presents The Portal, the daily podcast covering college football recruiting and everything NIL. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome back into the Portal Podcast, where you get your daily recruiting, NIL, and transfer portal news. I'm your host, Brian Smith, longtime college football writer and recruiting analyst. Thank you for making the Portal Podcast your first listen each and every day. Today's show is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $250 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Just visit FanDuel.com. There's a lot of talent inside the Yellowhammer State, from Muscle Shoals all the way to Mobile. We're going to talk about some of the kids down in Mobile, some of the kids at Birmingham, class of 26, class of 27, even a certain NFL quarterback's son, Gunner Rivers, is going to be discussed. There'll be 11 quarterbacks. And to help me do that, Trey from Hal-Tech Sports. Trey, what's up, man? How you been?
Man, I'm good, man. I'm blessed, man. Blessed to cover this sport another day. Blessed to be in the business. Blessed to be able to connect with everybody across the country in this great space of high school football in the state of Alabama, man. I'm just happy to be here, man.
Appreciate it. Well, you're residing in Birmingham, but you've been all over. You and I ran into each other up in Gainesville, Georgia, not too long ago with the Elite 11. We'll talk some about that. But just in general, for those that kind of know or don't know that much about the state of Alabama, give them your 2 cents on like why schools have to recruit here, even with Bama and Auburn here, because there's so many diamonds in the rough.
Well, you know, as our story is still being told, well documented, we're a state of roughly 5.5 million people. All of us are all pretty much passionate football fans. I would say most of us are passionate football fans here. So we love what that pigskin does for our cultures, community. It does so much than just Friday night lights. It's a way of life here in the state of Alabama. And I think having colleges like Alabama and Auburn kind of add to that, add fuel to that high school element community. So a lot of high school programs, we mimic a lot of what we have seen the outside world view our biggest programs, Alabama and Auburn. A lot of programs, you know, kind of want to mimic that success or have the allure of having people come around and celebrate the game as a whole. And with all that happening, you get kids birthing, you know, every other day popping up out of nowhere as emerging athletes in this great state with, you know, limited resources as a whole. We still really much do a pretty good job of making sure that the state of Alabama has athletes to have exposure throughout the whole state, top, bottom, east, west, big city, small city. The word is out now, you know, say something so we can know that these players exist. And I think the whole country now is starting to see that Alabama is really a place where you want to come recruit at.
I 100% agree with every word Trey just brought out there, because it's funny, like last year, Jackson High School, they were loaded. But if you ask the common person where I didn't even know where it was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they got Landon Duckworth. We'll talk about him in a second. They got Xavier Crowell. They got 4 or 5 guys who are going to play P4, and it's just a random city in South Central part of the state. And if you don't dig in and like really do your research, you're going to miss on kids, because whether you're a G5, whether you're a Division II or an Elite P4, there's kids in this state for you.
Yes.
To that point, like you're blessed like I am to get it. I live in Auburn, you live in Birmingham. Like we get to see kids all over, but you got to go into like Wadley has got a player that I got to see him play basketball. You know, like they're different kids that just come to these little schools. You're like, that kid's at that high school, like a 1 or 2A school having an elite recruit. We're used to it.
Yes.
So a lot of people are not. And it took me a while. Once I moved here, I've only lived in Alabama for a little over a year. I was like, I had no idea these little communities, they'll have 3 stoplights and they'll have a player. Like Justin Tuck was from a 1 stoplight town, Wellington, Alabama, and it was a flashing light at one point.
Yes.
So you never know, man.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Anthony Jones for a second. He's arguably the best player in the class of 26 here in this state. He's at St. Paul's, I believe, but he's a kid. Like I met him when I first moved here. He was on a visit to Auburn, and he was maybe 6. I don't even know if he was 16 yet, but I looked at him. I'm like, man, that's what it's supposed to look like.
Yes.
You'll find an edge rusher. It's 235, 240. I want that one.
Yes, that's correct. Tank Tank has been on the scene for a few years now. I think a lot of people think highly of Tank. He was one of the first athletes to come out in that 26 class a couple years ago. So he has kind of headlined this class for a very long time. His film is phenomenal. He looks the part, plays the part, and is the part. Great young man, all of the above. He is a model recruit that you would want to be part of your program anywhere in the country. So I think he does a great job. His team, his coaching staff, and everybody around him has done a phenomenal job with him being in the spotlight at least past 2-3 years easily, and him being able to maintain that shows everything that you need to know about a kid like Anthony Jones, Tank Jones, that is. He will be special wherever he decides to go, wherever he does go. I know these kids are eager to want to play with the best. So I'm not sure if he has committed, but I know he has some of the best teams in the country after him right now. So wherever he decides to call home, I'm pretty sure they're going to benefit tenfold what he does on the field. I have not seen him play in person yet, but you have seen enough of his film. I've seen him a couple times in person, but haven't seen him on the field. But his film speaks volumes. So I think anybody who knows Tank Jones, have seen Tank Jones, can all verify that. And he does a great job of representing the state of Alabama.
Yeah, he's a great kid, very low key, but like he's just built different. He's 6'4", 6'5", 240. Doesn't have any body fat. He looks like a guy that's like a heavyweight boxer. He's put together like that. So right now it's Alabama and Auburn from everything that I've heard, and I doubt that's going to change much. But I mean, Florida State, LSU, Georgia, everybody's going to continue to recruit the heck out of him, and they should.
Absolutely.
But right now I've heard it's Bama, Auburn, probably in that order. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Speaking of D lineman, I just want to throw him out there because the way he plays on Friday nights is a little different than what he might do in a practice or a camp. Like he turns it up another notch. That's Vodney Cleveland. He's at Parker. Obviously, they broke through and won a title in this past year. They were loaded up front. Vodney's 6'1.5", 6'2", 305, 310, something like that. He's a Birmingham kid that doesn't say much, but like he is, as we talked off air, holy Toledo, man. He is so strong. You're not going to move him off the spot. And we can't ever find enough of these kids that have that kind of power up front. And it just makes you wonder, like, where's he going to end up? Like, what's it going to take to get him? Have you seen Vodney live? I haven't seen him play in pads yet. So that's different.
My God. Yeah. Okay. So that's more in my area in Birmingham. Man, I know Vodney's story, man. Like his story is amazing. You know, he'll tell that story one day as he's still telling his story, but his story is amazing. The kid is a very talented young man, a hard worker, does everything that he's supposed to do to be great. Like I said, he is very silent, but he is very vocal as far as performing on the field. When the lights are on, when it's time to do it, it's time to do. I make no mistake, you're gonna know who Vodney Cleveland is because 9 times out of 10, his jersey is probably getting torn. He's probably getting double teamed.
Yes.
You're gonna know who he is on the field, and he has been doing that since I've known him and since he's been at Parker to help them, along with Jordan Crawford being right there with them. Those guys caused havoc, man, in 6A last year. They were a handful to deal with. So Vodney Cleveland right now, in my opinion, is probably a generational type talent that we may not see for some time because of his size and athleticism to be able to do that at that size and move the way he moves. It's easy to see that this kid is an NFL prospect early. I mean, you can just tell by the way he has his size, the way he's able to distribute his talent and the ability to dominate. That I think that's what intriguing to the next level. All the schools that's recruiting him right now, high level. We're talking Ohio State. I think they just joined the mix. Bill Belichick, you saw his top 6, some of the best schools in the country. Whoever gets Vodney Cleveland is going to get a huge steal, and your defense is going to benefit up front because he's going to be on the field sooner than later. And I think he's going to do whatever it takes as far as it continuously build on what he already done. And I think his stock is rising by the day. I tell him all the time, man, you can elevate your stock by the day if people start to recognize how important you can be to a defensive front. And I think all the schools in the country that's actively recruiting him right now all see Vodney Cleveland as such.
Yeah, I don't think you could really go out of style with this saying. You could never have enough defensive linemen, especially the guys in the middle. Like we're getting ready to hit the transfer portal time again.
Yep.
April 16th dated, opens officially, and it ends on the 25th. Man, there ain't no D tackles in the portal. Anybody tried it? You know what I'm saying? Like, there might be a few guys in there, but
right.
You know what I mean? They in there for the wrong reasons. So you got to get those high school kids. And I think Vodney is one of those guys. So when we come back, we're going to talk about a quarterback that's big time, talk about another quarterback in the 27 class that's big time, and other players around the state of Alabama. That is next here on the Portal Podcast. The NBA playoffs are almost here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place a $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if you win that first $5 bet. It's pretty easy to do it on FanDuel, whether you're picking one player, whether you're picking teams, prop bets, whatever it may be. FanDuel makes it easy. Plus, if you missed the beginning of a game, you can still bet live. Prop bets, you can get parlays, whatever you want to do on FanDuel. So don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. All right, man. I know you're familiar with Landon Duckworth in more ways than I am. I've seen him at an Auburn practice. I've seen him at Elite 11. He's a great kid. He's being recruited all over. Sounds like Ole Miss right now. I mean, I get it if you're a quarterback, Lane Kiffin. That's not exactly shocking. He was the engine for Jackson's run to a title this past year. Obviously, got some dudes around him too, but he was the key because he's a quarterback. Tell everybody what you like about Landon Duckworth.
Ooh, man. Landon Duckworth. He's one of the best in the state of Alabama right now. Hands down, he's one of the top guys in the state of Alabama. I put out a recent list. I think I put out the top quarterbacks. Trent Seaborn was number one, Landon Duckworth number two, but I could interchange those at any time just because Landon Duckworth is that guy. Now, at 7A, he could probably do it too. So that's the only really difference between him and Trent is that, Trent is doing it at 7A and Landon is doing it at 4A. Now, we would love to have Landon play 7A football. We would love to see that, but we still respect what he's able to do upon his natural born talents that he has. We respect that highly, and we think that Landon Duckworth is another generational type quarterback that this state has ever seen. He is a quarterback that can do it at all. He can run the ball, throw the ball, very dynamic passer, very strong arm, very accurate. We have never seen a quarterback like Landon Duckworth in the state of Alabama. Just put it that way. So he is a rare quarterback that a lot of people have seen coming, but now people actually see how good he actually is. He is definitely a one of one, and I think his career, everybody that's after him, deservedly so. Landon Duckworth will be one of the quarterbacks that we talk about to say, hey, we saw it, we knew it could happen, and he got to the right school to elevate him, and he's another one of those kids that has that NFL trajectory. You can just kind of tell with his success that he's having, the way he's built, size, ability, what he can do. It's a no-brainer that this kid gets with the right college program that can still continue on what we already see right now. And that's a dominant quarterback. Actually, not just a quarterback. He's a dominant athlete because he does it in basketball, and also he is a track and field champion as well. So you're talking about a rare. I mean, he is absolutely rare, and he has the numbers and stats to back it up. So that's an official verified guy right now. If I had to say, if anybody in the country has any questions, he can answer every box, check them off, and he is pretty much verified. I've seen him play live a couple times, and I have just been blown away how he performs as QB1 and as the leader of his team, man. So Landon Duckworth, deservedly of all the praise that he's getting right now, and I appreciate you for acknowledging him as well, because he's really that guy.
Yeah, I think he's number one. He's a good kid. A lot of times I deal with guys, they can ball, but I really don't like dealing with him. Landon is chill. He hasn't allowed all the offers, Auburn and Ole Miss, Florida State. He's the same dude. That's not, we both know, Trey, that is not all the time, brother.
It's tough. It's tough in this business. It is. I get it. And Landon is a good kid. Shout out to Larry, man. Larry, my guy Larry, he done a really good job of helping that Jackson community help the guys like Landon and Xavier, because areas in Alabama like that, rural areas, so to speak, the news stations are not necessarily there, or the coverage is not necessarily as rich as it is in Birmingham. If they were in Birmingham, and everybody in the country would have knew about Landon like they knew about him 3 years ago. Some knew about him, but the widespread of the lack thereof of coverage hurt guys like Landon. And now that he's here, man, we're proud of him and we're going to keep rooting him on.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You mentioned another guy there. Now, he reclassed, but Xavier Crowell, if he had not have reclassed as a running back, he might have been RB1 nationally.
Yes.
But he's still, depending on which service you go by, a top 100 guy.
Yes.
He makes dudes miss. He's got good vision in the hole, and he's got some pop. And he's still like, this is a dude that's barely old enough to drive.
Yes.
And he's got offers from everybody. Bama, Auburn, Florida State, whatever you want. He's got that. I feel sorry for teams in 4A.
It's tough. Yeah. Jackson, like we said, man, Jackson is a load again this year. They are favorites by many to repeat. High probability that they could. Everybody in 4A just got to prepare for playing against elite guys across the board. And Jackson poses that threat in 4A, and everybody knows it. So it takes teams that's equal, close enough that can match the talent. It's not just matching. You also have to contain it and, compete against it. And there's not a lot of teams in that classification right now that can match up to Jackson as well. But this is a whole new season, so it brings upon new challenges. So we'll see if Landon and co can really bring it again and repeat as champions. But it will be a challenge, I will say.
Yeah, now they've got the X on their back. They're not the hunter. They're the hunter. That changes things. It changes.
Yes, it does. It does. It does. So hopefully they can get rid of that and just kind of repeat, because I think they were supposed to have been there a year prior, but I think they figured out some stuff. So I'm eager to see how they do as being a champion.
Yeah, it's a different deal, but that's cool though, man. We need teams that are kind of random. Like, again, it's not near, say, like maybe an hour or so from Mobile, but like it's kind of out there by itself. So I think that's a great story within itself. Speaking of, I kind of mentioned him earlier, Jaquez Wilkes from Wadley. I got to see him play hoops. And that, I mean, like, you shake that young man's hand, you're like, holy cow. Like, he's built different. He's from Wadley. When I went to their gym for a basketball game, I'm like, and I'm driving to town, I'm like, there ain't no way anybody in this town has been able to guard him in anything forever. Because like, he walks out. I didn't need the roster to know who Jaquez was.
Yes.
Big, broad shoulder guy. He plays basketball like he plays football. He gets a lot of fouls. So let your mind wander. But tell everybody what about Wilkes and everything. I'm sure you've seen him in some capacity.
I've seen him live in the state championship game. My son played on the opposing team at Maplesville. So we got a chance to see him up close and personal, and they got the better end of us in the state championship game. Now, Jaquez is a very large individual, and in 1A classification, he stands out, and which he does in this particular situation, being the size that he is. He is a dominant player. So I think most people are recruiting him as a linebacker. I think that's where they're going to have him at, but he played running back, of course, for Wiley, and he was a tough load. He's a kid that has great size, great ability. Of course, he's going to dominate in the competition where he's at right now, of course, with 1A, because there's not many guys in that classification that can sustain that size. So I think he will have challenges as far as moving forward at the next level, as far as competing and getting up to speed with those guys. But I don't think it should be a hard transition, because he has great athleticism. He's phenomenal. He will be able to play up to size and up to speed, because he's already naturally been doing that as an athlete. He has done a lot for Wiley. So I think he stands out. I think he does everything that he's supposed to do, as far as making sure that he lets everybody know he can play at a high level. And at Wiley, man, they're always going to be competitive year in and year out. So I think that helps him too by playing more games. That's what we tell kids all the time is play as many games as you can, because that tells me more eyes are on you, meaning you're playing throughout the playoffs. So I think he will continuously help himself offensively, defensively, especially in the success that comes with him being on Watley's team. So I think he's in a good situation. In every school that's recruiting him, I think Auburn is real heavy on him. Whoever gets him going to be able to have a tool and a talented player that they can pretty much mold into what they want him to be, because he has that instinct as an athlete. So he's another prospect that I would say, if he continues on this path, he can go all the distance. He can play as far as he wants to go. And I think that, too, can be said about Jaquez Wilkes, another one of the state of Alabama's rural Alabama area kids that, has what it takes to make it the distance, in my opinion.
100%. I heard A&M's pretty hot with him, too. We'll see where he goes. But I wouldn't mind if I was a coach and maybe it's because of a certain running back who's now with the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, he's not a normal human being, but bigger backs, sometimes people just want to move to linebacker or D end. I wouldn't be against playing Jaquez at running back in certain schemes, like Michigan scheme or something like that.
Yep.
Downhill, like he's just an athlete.
Yep.
Figure that stuff out after he arrives at campus. That's kind of how I look at it, because he's just a heck of a football player. CD Morgan, this is a kid that, if it's not Anthony Jones, most people have CD Morgan as the top player in the state of Alabama. I got to know him a little bit. Another great kid. Super personality. But like when you meet him, wide receivers aren't supposed to look like that until they're 25 years old.
Exactly.
You know, he plays for Benjamin Russell in Alexander City. It's a really nice community. And he's just strong as an ox, 6'4", 205, 210. And he's just built like a Greek god.
Yes,
but, it's kind of funny watching high school DBs try to guard him. It's a joke.
It is.
Because if you throw it up high,
yep.
What are you really going to do against him? And the answer is not much. There's probably not 5 guys in the country that can really cover him because he's just too strong. I've talked to him about it, and he gets it, but he's just working on routes and just being consistent with his game. But, like, what else do you see with CD that is different than some of the other guys? Because there are other big receivers. That doesn't mean they're good.
Level of play, high level play. He plays with this high level energy at that size. I think he understands he's probably the biggest in the room when it comes to on the field against his opponent. And he uses that as his strengths. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do when you have size and ability. You're supposed to be able to apply that pressure to your competition. And I think he does that every time he goes out. He wants the ball. I think there's not many DBs that can really and can truly hold him down. So he's wanting the ball all the time. I think his eagerness to be great is vibrant. It shows often with him. I've seen him several times. I've seen him live and also seen him in the 7-on-7 circuit, all season 7-on-7 and high school 7-on-7. He has what it takes to be one of those prolific wide receivers. He has the tendency. He has great hands. He has the ability to use his body to make throws eligible for him and him only. So he understands his body frame. He understands his body concept of who he is. And a lot of people here in the state of Alabama has him as the number 1 prospect in the state of Alabama, which I will agree. I think he is the number 1 as far as all of his metrics, all of his ability to play the position at a high level. I truly believe that too. I think he is the number 1 rated player in our whole state. I will say that is because you're not going to find a Cedarian Morgan anywhere, probably just randomly. You're not going to find one of those type of guys. And he's been doing this for a couple of years now. I think I met him 2 years ago, could be 3 years ago, but it was at a spring game against Gardendale. He was just a baby then. Now he has grown into this, and I'm like, yeah, I saw it then, and now I really see it. So he is what NFL GMs are like, I cannot wait to get my hands on this kid. So with that being said, it's almost like we have 4 or 5 players in the state of Alabama right now that has tremendous value, and we don't even have high school NIL and none of that, but their value, you obviously can tell kids like CD, kids like Vodney Cleveland, these are superstar players. Like, they have superstar caliber tendencies, and we need help as far as making sure our state recognizes that, because I think they're still hesitant of making sure that our guys are being valued as such. And that's a fight for a different other topic, but it just shows you can see that we have really big time prospect that the nation don't produce. So Alabama is doing something special, and guys like CD, man, we want to wish him well. And I know he will pick the right school that fits where he feels best of playing, and them getting the best out of him and him giving the best that he can actually do. So CD, man, I can't say nothing more than just a guy that has represented the state of Alabama and hold us to high regards.
Yeah, he's a good kid, man. Florida, Ohio State, Auburn, Alabama, Texas A&M, like, you name a school, they've offered. I don't know where he's going to go, but he was at Auburn this past weekend. I saw him at Auburn, but I don't think he knows where he's going yet. That one's going to play out a little while, because a lot of heat on him, because everybody wants. You can't teach 6'4", 6'5", bro.
You can't teach it. You can't teach it, and everybody wants it. Everybody
100%.
wants it. So he can create the market for himself based upon NIL. And that's why how colleges, I think, are having a hard time with the rules of people saying, well, how can you afford to pay this guy? Well, I mean, good Lord, who wouldn't want to pay him what he is asking respectfully to be able to perform at the college level where you know you're going to benefit from him being on your field? So I think that's where a lot of things are becoming a little bit more clear, but it's not a universal fit yet. So I think that's the overall issue.
Well, that's all right. I'm sure he'll figure out where he needs to go. Again, these
Yep.
things take care of themselves, all in due process and due time. So
Absolutely.
the last area I want to talk about is quarterbacks. We'll get to the Elite 11 in a moment, but
Okay.
I just want to throw out something like it's different when your dad wasn't just an NFL player, but he was an elite NFL quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Rivers is a guy who played in San Diego forever, then became the LA Chargers, and then he finished up with the Colts for a year. His son, Gunner Rivers, that's a kid that's kind of blown up. He's got a bunch of offers already.
Mm-hmm.
And you talked about it earlier, like with Duckworth. This state isn't known for producing tons of quarterbacks. It's
Nope.
just okay. It's just, it's had a few, but in general, this is not quarterback you. That's not what this state is. This kid is accurate. He's on time. Talk to people about why that's important. Like, we don't get a lot of guys like quarterback coaches coming through here in May looking for QBs. I think he could help some other kids because while they're here, they're going to check out Timmy, Larry, and Johnny, whoever they are. I want to see him. He's probably number one on my list to see before the end of the summer. And I know his dad kind of keeps it under wraps. And I get that Phillip Rivers can do what he wants to do. But explain to everybody why Gunner is such a good prospect.
Gunner Rivers, man, seen him live in a spring game last year or so, as advertised. I mean, everything that you probably heard about Gunner Rivers, well, first off, everything that you have seen with his father of being an elite quarterback in the NFL in his career, Hall of Famer. I'm pretty sure he's going to be a Hall of Famer. It resembles, and the apple don't fall too far from the tree, is because Gunner Rivers has benefited by his father being such a skillful player at that position at the extreme highest level. Let me get that straight. Gunner benefited from all of that because we all in the state of Alabama and some of you guys nationally, you have seen this kid perform at an extreme high level the past 2 years if you've been keeping up with the numbers. The numbers are just absolutely skyrocketed. 3,000 something yards passing. He's going to probably break in the next 2 years. He'll probably break, of course, he's probably already broken all the school records that he had right now, but he will challenge some of the best records that's in Alabama passing history. So that's a perspective right there of telling you how fast he blew up. I mean, this kid has already hit the ground running within 2 seasons. Is knocking on the door of breaking historical records that was set years ago. So he's on a pace to where you ain't got to believe what I'm saying. His production on the field and how he does it makes him a big time prospect, barring his last name. You can take his last name away and just say, who is the top performing quarterback in the state of Alabama? Well, you can go find him because he's at the top of that list. So nothing has been given to this kid. This kid has absolutely busted his tail with the help of his father's mindset to help him put his kid in the best position, along with the great teammates that he has. Gunner's not doing it by himself, and I'm pretty sure Gunner will be the first to tell you he is not doing it himself, but the position that his father has put him in to allow his son to be able to perform at a high level is why everybody in Alabama is falling in love with this kid, is because he's literally displaying high-level football from a mastermind. That's the storyline that a lot of people love, and we're cheering him on. A lot of people who may have known Phillip Rivers' career may not. They just know maybe an NFL quarterback has a son that he's actually coaching, and everybody is seeing the results. So we're at a place in the state of Alabama right now where Gunner Rivers is a household name. Now, nationally, it's just like Manning. In my opinion, it's just like a Manning last name. So I think we're on to something when it comes to the Rivers last name. Gunner's doing a really good job himself, holding it down, got great size. I think he's like 6'4", right around 200 some pounds, somewhere near that. He has the NFL look as a sophomore, right now. So this kid is going to be special. Gunner Rivers If you haven't saw his film, if you haven't seen him in person, I would highly recommend all my people to go out and evaluate this guy. Get your own set of eyes. Don't look at it through the film, because he's a generational type kid that you can say, hey, it's not his last name that's getting him an edge or a bump. He still has to go and perform under the lights, and Gunner Rivers does that essentially every time he steps onto the field. So he is rightfully deserving of everything that's coming his way right now. All the accolades and all the recognition is because he's not doing it for himself. He has dynamic wide receivers that he's helping give them names to. Tucker Thomason, Brody Jones, and he has a great offensive line keeping that pocket protected, and he can hand the ball off to a guy like Noah Moss. So essentially everybody on the team of St. Michael's is benefiting from the Rivers last name per se, but also the impact that Gunner Rivers is providing for his football team and his community. So Gunner Rivers, man, he too, we got him in this state. He's one of those kids that you can easily see, if he just stays the course, does exactly what he's supposed to do, and stay on the course. Like I say, he will be playing college football, and not just college football. That type of pedigree will have you playing on Sunday. So I think it's easy to see.
Yeah, I agree. He's only class of 27, and everybody already
Yes.
jumping on board. Schools like Auburn and Georgia and stuff like that sniffing around. It's really all you need to know. And you brought up a good point. When you have a quarterback like that, the other guys around him, they're going to get recognition too. They got players at St. Michael's Catholic.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's still going to elevate them. And to that point, like Shadarius Toodles at Cottage Hill, like right down the road. It's a little bitty school.
Yep.
Some of those kids at that school ain't going to get no looks, but he's at that program. He's a dude that Auburn's got committed. That's why this is important. We got a lot of small schools and private schools in the state. If you ain't got that dude there, these other guys ain't getting no looks.
No.
That's why I love it. And that's why I try to cover some of the smaller schools sometimes. And a shout out to Shadarius. He's a good kid too.
Yes. Shadarius, okay. Do you know Shadarius? Shadarius, I have not seen him play live, but I have a lot of respect for his marketing of his game, his promotion of his game, and his family does a great job. So I wanted to give him a shout out as well. They do a really good job, and he's a talented kid. And good luck at Auburn as well to that young man.
Yeah, absolutely. The last thing is we were both at Elite 11. Anything that you want to add from that? It was, plenty of talent there. Take it away, my friend.
Elite 11, that was my first experience of Elite 11. I told everybody I wanted to experience Elite 11 because the state of Alabama is in a place now where we're becoming a quarterback state now. Not only can you just come get all your skill guys, your trenches guys, you now can stop in the state of Alabama and probably find a future quarterback that can lead your program to the future. So I think my experience was to get a feel for what it looks like among the best of the best, the elite of the elite, all in one shop, so to speak. And I think I took away, yes, man, it is some guys out here. It is some really good quarterbacks that look the part, throw the ball exceptionally well. I was amazed with the level of talent that was there and how our guys from the state of Alabama performed against those guys. A kid out of Louisiana caught my attention, Owen Smith. So I saw guys that were coming from all over, but they made an impression of me. And I felt like, man, this kid, I wish whoever it is in the area can help that kid out. So I try my best to follow up with guys because I try to reach out nationally. Elite 11 does that for or anybody in the sports journalist world. I would recommend you try to cover an Elite 11 event or just get an experience because you can meet some of the latest quarterbacks that's actually a lot of these programs want, and you see why they want them after they test at Elite 11, after they throw at Elite 11. You can really get a feel for why he is being highly coveted. So Elite 11 stole. I gave it an A+. I thought it gave me everything that I wanted to see because I just entered the world of quarterback world, so to speak, the last year or so. And I'm still learning about the position as far as all the stuff that goes into being an elite quarterback. So I think it gave me a great head start as far as knowing what to look for, knowing how to respect everybody's position at quarterback. And I think the Elite 11 event, man, I will say, man, I'm going to try my best to make it to Nashville. It's because I think a few more Alabama quarterbacks are supposed to make it to there. I think Auburn's quarterbacks, B.J. Coleman from Central and Kobe Key from Opelika, I think will be at this Elite 11 in Nashville. So hopefully I can get a chance to make it up there and try to provide more coverage. But I will say Elite 11 is a great event. And for future quarterbacks, man, you definitely, if you get an invite, man, you might want to go to that. I will say.
Absolutely. It's a lot of fun. Faison Brandon was at the one we were at. He's by like some of the surveys, he's number one player in the country.
Yep.
Duckworth was there.
Mm-hmm.
And they always got, like Georgia's, that state is a quarterback state. They've had some dudes. I mean, Blondie that's playing for the Jaguars, et cetera. Deshaun Watson, that state's been really good. But now, I'm glad you brought that up. It's cool that the Yellowhammer State has finally got some rep with some QBs. And I'm really hoping that we're both right about not just Duckworth, but Gunner Rivers, Seaborn, and some of these guys, because it'll help the state grow. Because quarterback's number one position, whether you want it to be or not. If you ain't got quarterback,
you're not.
It's over. It's over.
It is true. That's true.
I think more people will come in and recruit them, and then they'll see other kids we've got here in the state of Alabama representing the Yellowhammer State, and that's really important. All right, Trey, tell everybody where they can find all your work, brother.
Man, yes. Follow me on Twitter at Hal-Tech Sports. I'm very active on Twitter. There's a few social media sites out there. Instagram too, if you want to get me on Facebook. I started on Facebook, but I'm very, very active on Twitter. Most people know I only actively do things on Twitter. The others are just kind of like a host site for me, but I am working to build those platforms up. So I'm getting there. Right now, people know I'm all over the state of Alabama trying to provide services for a lot of programs that just need simple help and just give players voices. So essentially, find me on Twitter at Hal-Tech Sports 1. You can find most of my work there, the articles, all the creative content that I'm producing day in and day out to bring more light to the state of Alabama high school sports. And football is just leading the way, but I do respect all the sports in the state of Alabama. I just tell everybody, just make sure you're somewhere to be active and be seen. And social media is a great tool to use for everybody.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can find all my work, same places. I'm going to be on X most of the time, but I use Instagram. I use TikTok. I use all of that stuff. YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Odyssey. You can download the Portal Podcast on any of them. Make sure you like and subscribe. We will see you again soon here on the Portal Podcast.
Thank you.